Hi, I'm Emily Williams, the founder of the top success and personal development company for driven women called I Heart My Life. I grew my company from $442 to seven figures in my first 18 months. And since then, it's become a movement for women who know they're meant for something big and refuse to settle. At I Heart My Life, we operate with the belief that anything is possible and no dream is too big. We're all about combining business strategy, deep mindset work, high performance practices, money tips, and a whole lot of lifestyle to help you get the results you deserve in all areas of life. Because after all, we only get this one shot. This is your one-stop shop for all things inspiration. So grab your favorite drink and a pen and a notebook and get ready to be inspired. Oh, and if you're not a member of our community, go to iheartmylife.com/join and receive all of our emails and announcements. And while you're at it, copy and paste this episode link and share it with 3 friends. Now, on to the episode. Hey, it's Emily Williams, the founder of I Heart My Life and your host of the I Heart My Life show. This is episode 230. What it means to prosperously pivot, part 2 of our rebrand reveal. So today I'm super excited to dive into the second half of our rebrand story. I'm taking you behind the scenes with all the juicy details, all the highs and lows of the second part of my story of transforming the I Heart My Life and Emily Williams brands. Today you're going to hear more about the photo shoot that I did, all the surprises that came with that, some of the clarity that I got around what we were going to offer in I Heart My Life versus Emily Williams. And ultimately, I'm going to put it all together for you so that if you are also going through a pivot, you can see how to take steps and move forward even when you're not 100% clear. The other thing I want to talk about is what it means to prosperously pivot. Now, for me, I had no desire to bankrupt my company. I had no desire to not be making money within our company and not be able to pay our bills and pay our team. So I came up with the concept of prosperously pivoting. So we're going to talk about that, how I really shifted my mindset to hold the faith and the trust that that was what was going to happen, and how I was able to move forward full speed ahead with everything that I desired. So let's dive in. This episode is sponsored by the I Heart My Life signature course. This course is a long time in the making. It's based on my incredible book called I Heart My Life. It's literally some of those chapters broken down into a self-study course that provides you with everything you need to uncover what your purpose is and move full speed ahead towards taking action and making your big dreams a reality. We cover mindset, money mindset, goal setting, success tips, how to develop your own support system, everything you need to go from A to Z in terms of creating a life that you love. So if you go to iheartmylifecourse.com, you'll learn more and you'll be able to sign up right away today and be able to start moving forward towards that big vision, that thing that you know you're meant for. And remember, you are worth it. You deserve to live a life that you love. So go ahead and check it out now. So we're back with part 2 of the series that we're calling the Rebrand series, all about us transforming our companies, really moving in different directions with the I Heart My Life brand, getting clear on what Emily Williams is all about, the company, not necessarily me, but I guess me. You've heard from me a lot of vulnerability, a lot of things that were happening behind the scenes that you probably didn't know were happening. For example, my breakdown on New Year's Day when I couldn't breathe, which led to the realization of me needing to not launch a membership that was in the works. A breakdown that I had during an SEO meeting that helped me really identify that I could no longer continue down the path that I was on. I got clear by working with different coaches and mentors on where I wanted to take this company, and I moved my fear out of the way so that I could step into the vision that I was actually meant to bring to life. And that really leads me to some of the clarity that I got around the Emily Williams brand. I was very clear on I Heart My Life. I really just had to move that fear to the side, like I said, and go for it and pivot the company in the direction I wanted it to go in instead of waiting for it to happen organically. But the Emily Williams brand, I've had a website for a while, but it hasn't really been its own thing until now. So what I did after actually some organic conversations with my husband is I allowed myself to brain dump what that brand was all about. So just as you heard on the previous episode, I did the same thing with I Heart My Life. And within that company, I saw things like the podcast, the blog, e-commerce products, events, courses, and meetups. And what I realized, again, it happened naturally, was that the Emily Williams brand was actually the brand where people could come and work with me directly. And that might sound obvious. It's named after me. Obviously, I'd be a big part of it. Whereas I Heart My Life, although it's my vision, it's my creation, it doesn't necessarily have to have me as the face of it. Okay. And so these are important distinctions that I was making over the period of a few months. And my husband, James, actually was the one who really pointed out that the Emily Williams side of things was more of the luxury brand side of things. And he actually asked me, who is the client you want to work with? What is it that you want to charge? What do you want to provide for these amazing people who come your way? And I had to start to look at my branding and think about overall the feeling that people would get when they came to my website. And one of the things that we realized was that some of my photos were 4 and 5 years old, and I was no longer that girl. And one of the really cool things that came out of this whole scenario and this whole situation, I should say, is that I got to move forward with a rebrand that had been on the back burner for a while. And I'm talking about like an actual photo, colors, fonts, all the things, website, rebrand. And so I actually contacted one of my favorite photographers, Wendy Yalom, and I asked her if we could finally make this dream photo shoot happen. Now, I haven't shared this yet, and you may or may not even know about this location, but years ago, my family went to this hotel in West Virginia called the Greenbrier. We actually had a house there. If you've done my I Heart Money course or I Heart Coaching course, you'll see that on one of the modules that talks about desires, I have a desires list from 2014 when I first started my business. And on that list, it says, buy back my parents' Greenbrier house. Now, this is significant because in 2008, my dad actually lost that house. During the recession, he lost his business, and so he had to sell the house. And it was always my dream to be able to buy it back for them. Now, I share that because that's in the same location of this hotel that had a lot of special meaning for me. It also has some incredible colors, incredible just interior design that I was always drawn to. And the icing on the cake is that years ago, probably 3 or 4 years ago, I saw that Reese Witherspoon did a photo shoot there when she launched her Draper James luxury lifestyle brand. And so I always thought, it'd be so cool to have photos there. It totally speaks to the I Heart My Life vision, all the bright colors, all the flowers, really feminine, but also really like high class, stands out. And I thought that would be the perfect location. Now, this is in the middle of West Virginia. It's kind of challenging to get to. There's one tiny airport, but it's not exactly New York, LA, all the places that are really easy to accommodate. But again, I knew that it was time to do this. So I contacted Wendy. We found a date in July that would work for both of us, and we booked it in. Now, if you haven't already recognized this, I actually thought that this photo shoot was going to be geared towards I Heart My Life. And so I started planning it. I planned out my clothes. One of the things that was really important to me is that we had the feeling of community. So I actually invited some of my current and previous clients to join me at the hotel. I had no idea whether anyone was going to say yes, but I really wanted there to be other people there. And I wanted to showcase these amazing women as a part of the I Heart My Life community and as people who, I love working with and love supporting. Again, I had no idea whether anyone would say yes, but 3 women did, and they met me at the hotel, and I'll share all of that in a second. But that was super, super exciting. It's super fun to plan out and to see that vision come to life. So around that same time, James and I were talking about the branding. We're talking about creating more luxury. I was also exploring this idea of luxury experiences. And one of the pieces of clarity that I got over the span of a few months was that that is one of my levels of mastery. That is one of the things that most excites me. I put together a few experiences for friends. One was a birthday party and one was a baby shower. And I realized I have a lot of talent in that. Somebody even asked me if I was an event planner. I'm not saying I want to get into event planning, but the element of it that I love is creating beautiful experiences for people, seeing them light up, seeing them transform. And the way that we do that with our clients is bringing them into places like the Greenbrier, places like the Four Seasons, places like the Ritz in Paris or the Ritz in London, and seeing them transform before our eyes just by stepping into this new environment. And James and I both, we love creating experiences for people, experiences that will up-level them just by being in the room. And so I started to see that has to be a component of the Emily Williams brand, where I'm able to help our clients transform in a deep way, not just through coaching, but through the environment. So little by little, I was pulling at that thread and did an exercise around brain dumping for the Emily Williams brand. And the things I came up with were books, speaking, luxury experiences, high-level coaching, VIP days, and fashion. So those were some of the things that excited me. And again, just like I shared in the last episode, I was looking for the things that brought me joy, not the things I thought I should do, not the things that kind of brought me joy, but I could take it or leave it. It was like, what are the things that I really love that I know even if the money wasn't there, like I would do it because it's something that's part of my purpose. It's part of the vision. It's what I'm called to create. So we moved forward with that clarity, starting to understand that I Heart My Life was a lifestyle brand. It was media. It was content. All of these amazing pieces that could come together to help women fall in love with themselves and their lives, regardless of whether they were a business owner or not, regardless of whether money was the priority or not. It was about creating holistic success. And we decided that it was based around 6 pillars, which I'll share in just a bit. And then the Emily Williams brand, that's where you came to work with me directly, whether it's the VIP days, the high-level coaching, the luxury experiences. That's where you hire me to speak on your stage. That's where my books live. That's where the media opportunities are. All of that is within that container. Okay, so I hope that this is making sense. And you're also starting to see my thought process around how I just started to get clear on what I wanted and what the brands were all about. Okay, so after all of that was clear, one of the next steps was figuring out what to do with our programs. Now, anyone who's made any shifts in business, you know that it can be really scary to think about turning things off that are bringing in revenue. It can also be really scary to think about letting team members go if they're amazing and the only issue is that you don't have a space for them anymore. So the way I saw it was that I had 2 options. I could continue promoting programs that were no longer aligned with the vision of the I Heart My Life brand, or I could go all in on the true vision of the brand. Obviously, you know which one I chose. Both of those options I knew were going to take time, money, and energy. And I was sick of being busy. I was really sick of doing thing after thing after thing, banging my head against the wall, wondering why it wasn't working as well as I wanted it to work. And, the reality was it was because it wasn't in alignment and it wasn't supposed to work. I remember I had such a huge realization when one of my friends said that to me. She said, what if all this time it wasn't supposed to work to the degree that you wanted it to because that's just it. It wasn't supposed to work and it was supposed to not work so that it would send you in this other direction. It would support you in having this realization. And that's exactly the way I chose to look at it. And I decided that in order for this to really work, I have to go all in. And so I started to make decisions. Again, the word to decide means to cut off any other option. I started to put things in place that meant there would be finality, there would be end dates. I started to have conversations with team members, letting them know what's actually happening coming up down the line, what they should expect at the end of the year. And I also realized that my time was super sacred. So I had to make sure that everything I was saying yes to was in service to the new vision or to coming back to the original vision if we're thinking about I Heart My Life. I remember when I first started this company, the I Heart My Life brand, I was working as a matchmaker part-time. And I remember one day I was complaining to my coach about not having enough time. And she basically asked me how much I was making in my job. And I told her it wasn't a lot of money. And she said, how many hours are you working? And I think it was 20 hours a week. And she said, well, how much could you make in your business if you had an additional 20 hours? And numbers don't lie, which is why I handed in my notice that very same day. And that was the frame of mind that I went into this whole kind of up-level / upheaval with this year, was thinking about how can I go all in on the real vision. And of course, we all know that numbers also don't lie, in the sense that if you turn something off, sales don't come in. But what I decided was that I refuse to bankrupt my company in the process of pivoting. I was going to do something different. And so what that meant was that I came up with the terminology prosperously pivoting. Now, everyone knows that I am the queen of money mindset work. Well, if you don't know, now you know. But you gotta understand that with every expert that's out there, there's a reason why they're an expert or they're obsessed with a certain topic. It's because it's probably their personal work as well. And I've done a ton of work on my own money mindset. And yet with this scenario, it was definitely next level. Thinking about, okay, so we're going to turn our current mastermind off at the end of 2021. Well, then what? We're going to stop iHeart Coaching the Live program in September 2021. Then what? Like, what are we going to do to replace that income? And I had to constantly stop myself from going to the place of, oh, well, the easy thing would be, or I know it'll make money if I do this thing. And I had to come back to, is this in alignment with the vision? Is this in service to the vision? And I had to go into a place of full trust that the money will always be there, and I will make and be resourceful, and it will happen in the way that it's meant to if I continue to trust. I can no longer force things. I can no longer do things that aren't in alignment. I can no longer do things that aren't joyful. And if that means that there's a period of time where we are, I'm not even going to say that there's less money coming in, because I made the decision that that wasn't going to happen, but I just had to be in full trust. Okay. So if you're in the place of pivoting, what if you made the decision that you're going to prosperously pivot? And that there's no one, going into bankruptcy. There's no one, not having money in the bank. You will figure it out. And in fact, because you're pivoting, there's going to be even more than you could ever imagine. So that's the space I went into. And I'm not saying it was easy. I am saying that it was my next level of money mindset mastery. And I'm a different person because of it. My desire was to remain prosperous, period. And one of the main things I teach our clients is that for every problem, there's an equal or greater solution. I just needed to figure it out. And I knew that I was going to figure it out. I knew that if I kept following the breadcrumbs, I always figured it out. Just like when I chose not to go to grad school and I had to come up with a different plan. Although that took me 5 years, I knew this did not have to take 5 years and that it wouldn't, but I just had to trust the process. Clarity always comes. You just can't always predict when. So for example, if we turned off a program, I knew there was a certain amount of money that I wanted to come in to replace that revenue stream. Okay. And so I knew that I just had to wait for the clarity and that it would come, and that I would be inspired to make a new program, or I would be inspired to have another income stream or monetize in a different way. And that has definitely happened. So remember, you're using just as much energy being in doubt, fear, and insecurity as you do when you're in belief, trust, creation. Less, actually. It's much more energetically draining to be in worry. And you cannot be creative when you're in worry. So I reminded myself of that on a regular basis. And I decided to prosperously pivot. So like I said, we were making decisions. We informed our clients that this was the last round of iHeart coaching. We shortened our mastermind from a year to 6 months so that it would end at a certain date. I told my team about the changes I envisioned. I metaphorically drew lines in the sand, knowing that was the best thing I could do for my own clarity as well as for my team's. I had to show the universe that I was serious and that I was all in. So really think about that for you. Where are you at right now in terms of your decisions? Even day-to-day decisions. Is it like, are you waffling back and forth? Is it unclear? When you make a decision, it's so powerful. Let me give you an example. So one of the things that I decided I wanted to be a part of the Emily Williams brand is this incredible Luxe Mastermind. This is a mastermind just for 7 people. It's just with James and myself. It includes 3 retreats, including one to Bora Bora. It includes one-on-one coaching as well as the group calls. And this was something that I've shared so far just behind the scenes. I'm sharing it here now. If you're interested, definitely get in touch. But it's one of the things that I approached certain, rock star clients about who I thought would be the right fit. And one of the amazing women who has already signed up was obviously considering the financial investment. And one of the things that she has learned from me and other mentors that she's worked with is that she leads with her heart. And if something is in alignment based on her desires, then she goes for it. And that's what she did. Literally less than 2 weeks after she signed up for this, she and her husband got a amazing financial gift of $280,000 and an additional $20,000 back as a tax refund, all unexpected. So $300,000. The reason I'm sharing this with you is because she didn't go into fear and doubt and insecurity. She held the faith that this was the next opportunity for her and that the money would come in, and it has many times over because she had the faith and she stayed true with what her next version of her new normal is going to be. And it's going to be investing in programs like this, working with James and myself one-to-one, being in high vibe communities and groups like this. So what about you? What decisions do you need to make that will make it crystal clear around what it is that you actually want? Okay, so this brings us up in terms of timeline to the summer of 2021. We were quickly approaching our photo shoot that we were hosting at the Greenbrier. We had 3 amazing women coming to spend time with us to be a part of the photo shoot. I had everything mapped out. My favorite photographer was booked, as I mentioned. We also hired a videographer to shoot some behind the scenes for us. And what I ultimately realized literally the day before the shoot was that this was not a photo shoot for I Heart My Life. It was a photo shoot for the Emily Williams brand. Now, I share that with you. It's a little embarrassing, I have to admit, that I didn't know this ahead of time, but I shared this with you because that's how it happens sometimes. Sometimes things change at the last minute. Sometimes clarity comes in, at the very end of the day and the final hour, the final moment. And you have to learn to trust yourself enough to be like, you know what, this is so right. And I'm going to go with it. And I'm going to trust and I'm going to, go all in. And trust your instincts, trust your intuition. And that's what I knew was happening in that moment, literally with every step of this journey that I'm talking about. I knew the difference between when I was in alignment and when I wasn't, because for so many years I'd been trying to talk myself into alignment. Okay. And so I could tell the difference. And when I realized, oh, hey, this is actually for the Emily Williams brand, it was like, duh, bingo. So this is one of the amazing things about transformation and also being the observer of yourself is that you start to be able to tell what's true for you, what's a true yes, and what's not. A lot of people ask me this. How do we know if it's fear coming up because it's a big next up level and it is right for us, but it feels scary, versus fear saying, oh no, that's not in alignment. And as you move forward in your business, in your life, in your career, you start to know the more risks that you take, the more you put yourself out there. It becomes very clear. The simplest way to describe it is that if it's in alignment, if it's in service to the vision, it's going to feel expansive. Okay, desire is always for more life. If it feels fear-based and restrictive or constricting, and you're not going to be moving forward, you're going to be staying stuck if you go in that direction, then you know that it's just fear holding you back. So we had this incredible photo shoot. The videography was absolutely amazing. I couldn't have asked for anything better, except for the fact that my Instagram got hacked on photo shoot day and that was taken down. And we spent a week or so trying to get it back, but that's a whole nother story. There's a whole episode on that you can listen to. But the photo shoot was amazing. And all in all, like, we captured exactly what we wanted to capture. And even then, I knew that the new websites were going to be launching on August 11th. And so we had a month to create 2 new websites, which, by the way, was never part of the plan. I would have mapped that out a bit better had I known that I was going to be relaunching 2 websites, but that's sometimes what happens. And so we moved forward, and I worked with a copywriter to help bring the vision to life. In terms of the websites, I also did a lot of the writing myself. I did the art direction, and trust me, there's been a lot of messy moments, and there's been a lot of beautiful moments. And I've been involved in every step of this process because the truth is, I am the person birthing both of these businesses. And with every birth process, it's not comfortable. It's not easy. There are contractions. There are moments where you're screaming. There are tears. And my hope is on the other side, it already feels worth it. And it feels more in alignment than I ever have before. And so that is one of the major payoffs. But I think that there's a misconception that when you're at a 7-figure business or beyond or whatever, that you're not doing all the things. And yes, I have a lot of people helping me, but it's still coming through me. I'm the one birthing this. I'm the one leading the company. And that's really what a visionary does. You're leading, you're steering this ship. And I remember one of my friends telling me, she said, it's like you've built this yacht. It's not going to change on a dime. There's going to be an element of pivoting. A yacht can't change course in a split second. And I definitely get that. But I hope that things do make sense when people see the visual representation of these brands and that we're able to be clear about who it is we're working with. And there's a lot of people out there who might be nervous about launching 2 things. And do I know everything? Do I always know what I'm doing? Heck no. But that's okay. That's part of it. It's messy. And the truth is we now have 2 different avatars. We have 2 different companies. And so I've had to segment them in my mind and think to myself, okay, so the I Heart My Life brand, it's targeting this person. These are the people we want to support. So visually, we want it to look like this. We want the website flow to be like this. We want the content to be like this. And then Emily Williams, it's different. It's a different clientele. It's somebody who is an entrepreneur and a CEO and wants to make a ton of money and live a life full of luxury. And neither is better than the other. They're just different. And it makes me so excited to think about I Heart My Life finally being what it was born to be. Because the truth is, I've always seen it in Target. I've seen it. I've seen us having stationery all around the world in a variety of different stores. I've seen us having incredible meetups and big events that are full of inspiration. And for me, being in this container of I Heart My Life only works with coaches on building businesses, it wasn't going to allow for that. And I couldn't pretend that it was naturally going to happen. Now, I want to add a disclaimer here. This is my story. This is what's worked for me. And you get to do you. Like, that's really my whole point of talking about all of this and being so public with the vulnerabilities and the highs and the lows and the lack of clarity and the clarity. You get to do you. And so whatever feels aligned for you, do it. Because we only get this one life. And there are people out there, I'm raising my hand as well, who will tell you need to niche down, who will tell you pick one avatar. And as you see here, we have actually done that. I have a specific person in mind for I Heart My Life and a specific person in mind for Emily Williams. It just turned out that the I Heart My Life person has changed a bit, and that's okay. So if your company or what you're doing right now no longer feels in alignment, give yourself permission to tweak it, to prosperously pivot it. Don't go to a place of, oh my gosh, I'm going to make a change and no one's going to buy for me ever. Well, that's not going to serve you. Shift your mindset, be in trust of where your heart is leading you, because that's actually your truth. And if you are a visionary like me and you're somebody who is steering a ship, that's what you owe your community and your team. Get clear within yourself first. And I was clear. I just didn't want to see it, or I thought that it would happen naturally. And sometimes we got to give it a little push. We got to give it a chance to grow and blossom into what it's actually meant to be. Now with the changes that we've made, I can see how we can end up in Target. I can see how I can create the physical products that I know we are going to be selling on that website. I can see how we can weave in more lifestyle, health, spirituality into I Heart My Life. And it doesn't have to be with the goal of building a business. Because the truth is, that's a very small portion of the population. And I'm here to serve 1 billion women. Yes, you heard that correctly. And then with the Emily Williams brand, I get to do what I love. The other thing I love doing, talking about money, helping women elevate their wealth, working with high-level clients, and working with a select group of people. I'm not going to apologize for that. I've got a big vision. I have 2 companies now. So my time is precious, just like yours. Serve the people you really want to work with. When I went to the Greenbrier Hotel and we had the photo shoot, I was telling the ladies, I'm no longer available to work with clients who I wouldn't also be friends with in real life. I want to hang out with amazing women who light me up. I deserve that. You deserve that. So choose wisely. You get to decide what it looks like. You get to create the vision that you want to create. So now what does this mean for you? What does this mean for you within our company? So we have this amazing podcast. It will continue to be incredible. It will continue to serve you. And we're going to be weaving in more topics. So we have 6 pillars that we're focusing on within I Heart My Life. They are mindset, money, relationships, career and business, spirituality, and health. All of those will be covered within the I Heart My Life umbrella. So you have our blog, the podcast, meetups, I Heart My Life Live, our courses. All of that is going to support you under the I Heart My Life umbrella. And if you don't have a business, great. You don't need to have a business. The main thread, the main person we're looking to work with is someone who wants to love her life. She knows she's meant for more. She knows she's meant for extraordinary. And that's what you find within the I Heart My Life umbrella. We want to help you love every element of your life, and we believe in holistic success. We don't believe in focusing on your business or career and letting your health fall by the wayside. We believe that you can have success and joy and happiness in every area, and we can support you in getting there. Okay? And then if you are somebody who has a business, or you are an executive and you want to go to the next level financially, and you want to do the inner work that's required to elevate yourself, and you are ready to invest at a high level, whether it's in one-on-one mentorship or VIP days or in our Lux Mastermind, or if you want me to come in and coach your team on money mindset, I do that as well, then Emily Williams is for you. That brand is available for you. That's the simplest way I can describe it, and I hope that that makes sense. And so what we're going to do within these show notes is make sure that you have a chance to join us in both of these communities if it resonates with you, or if one is right for you, great. We'll put the links so that you can be a part of the community and receive all the value that we have to share. We have emails going out from both companies every single week with incredible content that's going to help you reach your goals. We have this podcast. Who knows? We may even add another podcast. Hint, hint. There's so much happening behind the scenes, but we want to open the curtains and showcase all of it to you. So I do want to also say, if you have any questions at all, or if you have any thoughts, feel free to send them our way. Positive thoughts only, if possible. But if you have any questions about what this means for you, maybe you're somebody who's been with us for the last 7 years and you're a little confused, or you just want to know more, then definitely email us. You can email info@iheartmylife.com. We are here for you. And if you know somebody who needs this episode, definitely send it their way, because I know that for me, the more during this period of time, the more I listened to stories of people pivoting, people who were brave enough to shut down something that wasn't working, people who decided to just go in a different direction. The more I heard those stories, the stronger it made me. And I gave myself permission to have my own moments of pivoting. I gave myself permission to do things a little bit differently. I gave myself permission to be true to myself. And we all need more examples of that on a regular basis. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. I know that this has been a lot about me, but I hope that this was helpful as you navigate your own life experiences, your own challenges, your own questions. We are here for you, regardless of what it is that you want to create, do, or be. Anything is possible, everything is possible, and you've totally got this. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the I Heart My Life show. Now do us a favor and tell people about this episode. It's truly our duty to make sure that the I Heart My Life movement is spread far and wide. The truth is, life can be challenging, but it is possible for all women to love themselves and their lives. And while you're at it, send a link to this episode to 3 of your friends today, or maybe even post it on social media. Use the hashtag #IHeartMyLifeShow. That's hashtag #IHeartMyLifeShow. And if you'd like to help me personally, then please rate and review this podcast on Apple Podcasts. Give us some stars, cheer us on, and leave a review, because believe it or not, that stuff actually really does help. And I read all of them. Please remember, everything you desire is meant for you and possible. Keep showing up, taking action, and believing in your dreams.